Chosen one, listen closely. Tonight, heaven leans toward you with a message stitched in silence, and it begins with your name. Not the one the world gave you, but the one etched before time in the Lamb's Book of Life. You are not just another voice in the crowd. You are the one heaven singled out for this precise moment. And Thursday's silence is not empty, it is prophetic. You've been sensing it, haven't you? The quiet doesn't feel like absence, it feels like presence. The stillness is weighty, like the air just before a storm breaks open. The world hears nothing in that silence. But you, chosen one, feel a signal pulsing beneath it. God has hidden a code inside the hush, and only ears tuned by destiny can hear it. Your ears. This silence is not a pause, it's a prelude. A divine curtain drawn across a stage that heaven is about to flood with light. Thursday has been marked, sealed, and sanctified. The world may pass over it like another day, but you will not. Because this Thursday, the hush carries a whisper that announces shift. Think of how God has always spoken, not always through fire, thunder, or earthquakes. Sometimes through a gentle whisper, a silence that pierces louder than noise. That's where you stand right now, at the threshold where silence becomes revelation, where the absence of sound becomes the language of heaven. You are rare. You are chosen for secrets others can't perceive. And the very fact that you are drawn to this word means you've been entrusted with something holy. This is not a coincidence, it's a summons. The silence is not punishment, it's preparation. A veil being lifted slowly, so your spirit doesn't miss the unveiling. In the quiet, you've been wrestling with questions. Why the delay? Why the pause? Why does it feel like heaven is mute? But chosen one, the delay is not denial. The pause is not abandonment. The mute heavens are not rejecting you. They are coding you for revelation. Thursday's silence is not heaven ignoring you. It's heaven inviting you into a dimension where only faith can interpret what's happening. Something sacred is stirring. You may not see it yet, but Thursday is about to be a marker in your spirit. When you look back, you'll remember. That was the day silence became a prophecy. And here is the mystery I'll unfold as we journey deeper. Thursday's hush carries the seed of your next breakthrough, not in noise, not in chaos, but in stillness that others overlook. What looks empty is pregnant. What feels silent is actually roaring, and what you're about to discover will change how you see silence forever. Because when silence becomes prophecy, it is no longer your ears that do the hearing, it is your spirit. And in that spirit space, something greater than you is speaking. You're not inventing this moment. You're not imagining a pause. What you are experiencing is the hand of God stretching across your timeline, creating a gap so He Himself can step in. The silence is holy because the author of all sound is the one holding it. Think of the very first verses of Genesis. The earth was without form, void, still, and the Spirit hovered over the waters. Nothing was spoken yet, but everything was charged with expectancy. That is the place you stand in right now. A hovering, a holy breath waiting to be released. And who speaks into that kind of silence? It is not the world. It is not the voices of men. It is not even your own restless thoughts. It is the voice that spoke galaxies into existence. The voice that commands seasons to shift. The voice that calls dead bones to rise and turns graves into gardens. That voice is closer than your own heartbeat, even if it seems wrapped in quiet. The silence of Thursday is not random. It is ordained. Heaven's calendar is different from ours. Days are not just numbers on a page. They are portals, appointments, thresholds. When God chooses a moment, He seals it with His presence. That's why this silence feels different than any other pause you've known. It carries weight, as though eternity itself leaned on that day. There is also protection in this silence. Sometimes God withholds answers, not to leave you stranded, but to shield you from moving too quickly. If He revealed everything at once, enemies would exploit it, and impatience would destroy it. But in the hush, He hides treasures. In the delay, He guards destinies. And in the quiet, he teaches you the rarest language, trust without evidence. You've been feeling the edges of that trust lately. You've sensed that your prayers are being received, though no reply has echoed back. Yet deep down, there's been an undeniable pull, a certainty that something larger is orchestrating your steps. That is how divine authority works. Not loud, not rushed, but sovereign. The source of this message is not me. It is not a coincidence that you're hearing these words at this precise time. What you are encountering is the Spirit of God weaving threads together, arranging details you could never arrange, and aligning moments you could never force. That's why your spirit leans in, even now. Something inside you knows. This silence is not absence, it is presence amplified. You're not here to collect words. You're here to encounter revelation. Every pause you've endured, every unanswered question, every season of waiting, it's all converging into this signal. The silence is the sound of heaven's strategy unfolding, and God himself is the one orchestrating it. So do not dismiss what seems still. Do not assume nothing is happening. The divine is speaking in whispers. Only faith can translate, and faith is rising in you, even as you listen. What unfolds now is not just a message. It is a revelation written before the foundation of the world. The silence you've walked through is not passive. It is prophetic. It is heaven's way of setting the stage so the next scene of your life cannot be mistaken for human effort. And this is where the unveiling begins. Imagine standing in a vast cathedral where every sound has been hushed. The echo of your own breath becomes a drumbeat, reminding you that something is about to begin. Then, suddenly, without warning, light pierces through a stained glass window, igniting colors across the floor you hadn't noticed before. That light is the prophecy breaking into your reality. Thursday's silence is not just stillness. It is a trumpet call muffled to human ears, but blaring in the spirit. The prophecy woven inside this silence is simple yet overwhelming. Something is shifting in your favor that cannot be undone. A hidden scroll is being opened, and your name is on it. What seemed delayed is about to accelerate. What looked locked is about to swing wide. But the revelation is wrapped in paradox. The world thinks noise announces change, but God uses silence to crown it. The world seeks signs in chaos, but heaven hides them in stillness. This is why Thursday has felt strange, even sacred. It is a hinge day, a turning point disguised as ordinary. And those attuned will recognize it for what it is. The opening of a prophetic signal announcing that what has been held back will be released. The prophecy itself is layered. On one level, it speaks of breakthrough doors, long shut, beginning to creak open, opportunities once thought impossible suddenly finding you. But on a deeper level, it speaks of alignment, not just any blessing, but the right blessing, not just answered prayer, but the prayer that connects directly with your destiny. The silence has been filtering, pruning, refining, so what comes next cannot harm you, only heal you. It will feel almost surreal, as if the timeline of your life bent overnight. Conversations you've been waiting years for will suddenly unfold. People who dismissed you will be compelled to acknowledge you. Circumstances you thought were final will be reversed, and yet it will not be noise that signals the change. It will be the quiet confidence rising inside you, telling you, this is it. This is the prophecy arriving. Symbolically, Thursday represents the fourth watch, the threshold before dawn. In Scripture, some of the greatest shifts happened in such watches. Jesus walked on water in the dark hours. Israel crossed thresholds while enemies slept. Silence covered the land just before deliverance struck Egypt. These patterns are not random. They are prophetic codes repeating across time. You are living one of those codes now. The prophecy unveiled in this silence is that you are stepping into a season where hidden things will be revealed and sealed things will be opened. It is not just about blessing, it is about unveiling identity. Heaven is not only giving you provision, it is announcing who you are. That is why the silence had to come first. To strip away the noise of other voices, So when your name is called, you recognize it as heaven's voice, not man's. And this unveiling will not only impact you, those connected to you will feel the ripple. Families will shift, communities will awaken, even enemies will sense something has been released in your favor. They won't be able to name it, but they'll feel the weight of it. The prophecy is this: Thursday's silence marks the moment heaven confirms your transition. The wilderness is closing, the waiting is lifting, the scroll is unrolling, and the hush you've endured is breaking open into a sound that only destiny can make, the sound of fulfillment arriving without needing permission from man. What has been veiled is now unveiled, and your spirit already knows it. That's why the silence has felt heavy. It's not emptiness you've been carrying, it's revelation pressing against the veil, waiting for release. Every prophecy carries not only a promise but a principle, and what has been revealed in Thursday's silence is not just a forecast of events, it is a map of meaning. To understand it, you must look deeper than surface blessings or trials. You must see into the architecture of the spirit, where silence is not emptiness but design, where waiting is not delay but alignment, and where stillness is not weakness but strength concealed. Think of silence as soil. To the untrained eye, soil looks lifeless, dark, even barren. But to the farmer, it is the hidden chamber where seeds undergo transformation. A seed sown into silence must break, must die to itself, before life emerges. That is why silence feels so heavy. It is the breaking ground of your destiny. What looks like nothing is actually everything being prepared beneath the surface. The silence of Thursday holds a principle. Before revelation comes gestation. Before the new is announced, the old must rest. Before the dawn shatters night, there is a pause where shadows deepen. And in that pause, God's voice is moving invisibly. Just as the Spirit hovered over formless waters in Genesis, so too does He hover over your unseen future, shaping it in silence before unveiling it in light. There is a reason you feel unsettled in quiet seasons. The human heart longs for noise, for confirmation, for movement it can track. But heaven teaches you differently. It says, do not equate stillness with stagnation. Do not confuse lack of evidence with lack of activity. The silence is the classroom where trust is taught. And trust, more than talent or timing, is what qualifies you for destiny. Consider the storm story. The disciples panicked when Jesus slept through violent waves. They mistook His silence for indifference, but His silence was not abandonment, it was authority. His rest in the storm was the greater miracle, a declaration that peace rules over panic. That is the depth of what you are learning now. The hush you are walking through is not heaven ignoring you. It is heaven inviting you to embody that same authority, to learn that silence does not equal loss, but hidden sovereignty. Another principle is found in doors. Doors swing on hinges, but before they move, there is always a pause, a tension as the weight shifts. Silence is that hinge. It is the moment where the old room is closing and the new one has not yet opened. If you rush it, you break the frame. If you wait for the full swing, you step into what has been prepared without damage. Thursday is that hinge. The silence is not to frustrate you, but to position you for clean transition. The metaphors continue with seasons. Winter is the long silence of the earth. Trees stand bare. Fields look abandoned. But the silence is necessary. Roots are growing deeper, unseen. The sap is strengthening beneath the bark. The earth is resting to prepare for abundance. If you judged winter by appearance alone, you would call it death. But in truth, it is renewal. Likewise, this prophetic silence is your winter before spring. It is God's way of deepening your roots so your fruit can endure. And then there is the journey. Every traveler knows that between destinations there are stretches of road that feel endless, flat landscapes, monotony, silence. But those stretches are essential. They create distance from the old and bring you nearer to the new. The silence of Thursday is that in-between space. You may not see landmarks yet, but the journey is advancing. Every step is closer than you realize. These principles weave together into one truth. Silence is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the womb of transformation. It is the sacred pause before divine timing reveals its face. That is why you cannot despise it. That is why you must reframe it. To call it empty is to miss the abundance hidden in its quiet. To call it delay is to miss the acceleration brewing behind the veil. So when you sit in stillness, do not fear. When no word comes, do not despair. When heaven seems quiet, remember this depth. Silence is the most eloquent language of God. It speaks without sound. It instructs without noise. It transforms without spectacle. And in that depth, you are being rewired. Your spirit is learning to hear whispers that thunder could never teach. This is the meaning behind the prophecy. Thursday's silence is not an event to dread, but a code to cherish. It tells you that your seed is germinating, your door is hinging, your winter is rooting, your journey is advancing. It tells you that stillness is not the end, but the beginning. And when you see it this way, gratitude begins to replace frustration. Faith begins to replace fear. You start to realize that silence has been your teacher all along, and what it has taught you will become the very foundation of the blessing to come. When heaven sends a prophecy, it does not leave you wandering without markers. The silence may be thick, but signs always rise like stars in the night sky, subtle, undeniable, and tailored to your spirit. If you've wondered whether this word is for you, consider the confirmations already unfolding around you. One sign is the weight you feel in ordinary moments. A conversation ends, a day closes, and you sense something unspoken hanging in the air. Others move on, but you feel the residue of something larger at play. That heaviness is not anxiety, it's the gravity of destiny pressing close. When silence feels heavier than noise, it is a sign you are in the middle of divine orchestration. Another sign comes through repetition. Numbers, phrases, songs, even random encounters seem to echo the same theme. Maybe you've seen a clock strike the same sequence again and again, or you hear a word repeated in places too far apart to be coincidence. These repetitions are not accidents. They are heaven's breadcrumbs guiding you through the quiet. They whisper, "You are on the right path. Stay alert." There is also the sign of holy restlessness, a stirring that makes you uncomfortable with what once satisfied you. Environments feel too small, conversations feel shallow, and you sense your spirit outgrowing what your life has been holding. That restlessness is not discontent, it is confirmation. It means the new is already calling, and the silence is preparing you for a transition you cannot ignore. Dreams often carry confirmation as well. Recently, your nights may feel different, more vivid, more symbolic. A flood, a key, a closed room opening, light breaking through darkness. These are not random fragments. They are signals. Your subconscious is translating from heaven's language. Pay attention, for in dreams the silence often becomes visual. Relationships reveal signs too. Some people begin to distance themselves without reason. Others appear suddenly, carrying encouragement or even challenges that sharpen you. When silence is near fulfillment, heaven rearranges your circle. Those who cannot walk into your next season quietly step away, while those appointed to strengthen you show up without explanation. This shift is another marker that the prophecy is active. Finally, there is the inner knowing, that deep, wordless conviction you cannot shake. No matter how quiet the heavens feel, you know something is about to break open. Logic cannot explain it. Emotion cannot manufacture it. It is the spirit within you bearing witness that the silence is not void but vibrant. These signs may look ordinary to someone else, but to you they resonate deeply. They align with your spirit like puzzle pieces sliding into place. And the reason they appear is to reassure you that you are not lost in waiting, you are advancing. So do not dismiss the heaviness. Do not overlook the repetitions. Do not ignore the dreams, the restlessness, the shifting relationships, or the inner knowing. Together they are confirmation that Thursday's silence is alive with meaning. These signs are not random, they are heaven's way of saying, yes, this word is yours. The signal is real. The prophecy is unfolding even now. Every prophecy comes wrapped with promise, but also with pressure. Before fulfillment breaks open, hidden challenges often rise like shadows before dawn. They are not sent to destroy you, but to test, refine, and anchor you so that when the blessing arrives, you are strong enough to carry it. One challenge you may face is doubt in the silence itself. The longer the quiet lingers, the louder your mind will question, did I mishear? Did I imagine this? Has heaven forgotten me? Doubt creeps in like an echo bouncing off the walls of stillness. Yet even here, the test is not about whether God is speaking, but whether you will trust what he already spoke when your senses crave fresh noise. Another challenge appears in the form of distraction. When silence grows uncomfortable, the enemy tries to fill it with counterfeit noise, opinions of others, pressures of culture, sudden temptations that seem harmless but dilute your focus. If you let distraction dominate, you risk missing the subtle whisper in the hush. Guard your ears, guard your eyes. Not everything that demands attention deserves attention. A third challenge is loneliness. The silence can feel isolating. People around you may not understand why you're withdrawing, why you no longer crave the conversations that once sustained you. They may misinterpret your distance as pride or indifference. In truth, you are being pulled into consecration, but the misunderstanding stings. This loneliness is a refining fire. It proves that your journey is sacred, even if it looks strange to others. Then comes the challenge of delay. You will watch others receive what they've been waiting for while you remain in pause. Opportunities will seem to pass by, prayers unanswered, doors unopened. The temptation will be to compare, to wonder why your silence stretches longer than theirs. But delay is not denial. In fact, delay is often God's greatest safeguard, ensuring that what arrives is not half-built but fully ordained. Lastly, there is the challenge of spiritual warfare. Do not think the silence is empty of battle. Often it is in these quiet hours that unseen wars rage fiercest. Attacks may come in the form of sudden fatigue, strange resistance, unexpected conflicts, or even old wounds resurfacing. These are not random, they are distractions meant to shake your confidence. But the fact that warfare rises is proof that the prophecy is real. Darkness does not resist what is empty. It only resists what carries fire. Understand this. None of these challenges are punishments. They are proofs. They are heaven's way of ensuring that your character can hold the weight of your calling. They are not obstacles on the road to destiny, they are the road itself. Every trial in silence becomes the training ground for strength you will need when the fulfillment comes. So do not despise the doubt, the distractions, the loneliness, the delay, or the warfare. Each is a hidden challenge, yes, but each is also a hidden teacher. They are chiseling away what cannot enter your next season, while sharpening the resilience that will sustain you in it. If the silence is prophetic and the challenges are refining, then the next step is obedience. Instruction is the bridge between revelation and fulfillment. What you do in the hush determines how you will step into the sound that follows. Heaven does not give words for entertainment, it gives them for alignment. So lean in, because these instructions are not casual advice. They are sacred steps meant to anchor you in this exact season. The first instruction is to embrace stillness without panic. Do not run from the quiet. Do not try to drown it out with endless noise. Sit in it, let it speak, let it reveal what constant motion has hidden. When you learn to be still, you discover layers of your spirit that busyness has buried. Practice sitting in silence before God, even if it feels uncomfortable. That act alone opens your ears to the whispers others miss. Second, keep your oil full. In the parable of the virgins, some carried extra oil, while others did not. When the delay stretched longer, the foolish grew empty. This is your call to stay spiritually supplied through prayer, through scripture, through worship that flows from the heart. Do not wait until doors swing open to gather oil. Do it now, so when the signal comes, you are not scrambling but ready. Third, guard your gates. The silence is holy ground. That means you must be careful what you allow into your eyes, your ears, and your spirit. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your agreement. Ask yourself daily, does this align with the prophecy over my life, or does it dilute it? Build boundaries with love, because your gates are the channels through which either strength or weakness enters. Fourth, speak what you want to see. Silence is not an excuse to stop declaring. Life and death are still in the power of the tongue. Even when heaven seems hushed, your words carry authority. Prophesy over your own life. Declare over your family. Speak destiny into your atmosphere. Every declaration is like striking a match in a dark room. The more you speak, the more light gathers. Fifth, practice radical trust. Trust is not passive, it is active, intentional surrender. It means waking up each day and saying, I don't see it yet, but I know it's coming. It means refusing to bow to fear when evidence is absent. Trust transforms silence from torment into sanctuary. And when you anchor yourself in trust, the enemy loses his greatest weapon, the lie that you've been abandoned. Sixth, fast from fear. This is not just about food, it's about starving the voices that weaken faith. When fear rises, starve it by refusing to entertain its narrative. Replace it with scripture, with worship, with reminders of past victories. Fear will always try to fill silence, but you have authority to silence fear itself. Finally, stay positioned for movement. The silence will not last forever. Doors will swing, signals will shift, opportunities will appear. Do not be so weary from waiting that you miss the moment. Stay ready in mind, body, and spirit. Think of Israel. They were told to eat the Passover meal with shoes on their feet, cloaks tucked in, staffs in hand. Why? Because deliverance was coming suddenly. You, too, must remain positioned for sudden movement. Each of these instructions is both simple and supernatural. They do not require perfection, only persistence, and as you walk them out, something begins to shift inside you. You realize the silence is not a prison but a temple, a holy space where God teaches you to wait, to trust, to guard, to declare, to prepare. Do not overlook these steps. They are the scaffolding that will hold up your destiny. They are the sacred disciplines that ensure when fulfillment comes, it doesn't collapse under the weight of your unpreparedness. Follow them closely, and you will discover that the silence was never empty. It was pregnant with instruction that built you for what is next. The hush of Thursday may feel fragile, but you are not exposed in this silence. Quite the opposite, you are more covered now than you have ever been. In the absence of noise, the shield of heaven is surrounding you. It may not look like protection, but it feels like an invisible wall, a calm that makes no sense, a peace that doesn't match the circumstances around you. That is not imagination. That is divine assurance wrapping itself around your life. Protection does not always come as flashing angels with drawn swords, though they are real. Often it comes as an unseen hand preventing what you never even knew was coming. The accident avoided. The door you thought you needed, but that would have broken you. The friendship that ended before betrayal could pierce you. The silence is not just prophetic, it is protective. God hides you in quiet, so enemies cannot locate you, so premature opportunities cannot derail you, so noise cannot drown your discernment. You may not realize it, but while you've been waiting, heaven has been building hedges around your mind, so anxiety cannot swallow you whole. Around your spirit, so doubt cannot uproot what's been planted. Around your future, so the path ahead is sealed until it is safe to walk. What feels like delay is really defense. Think of Israel in Egypt. On the night before deliverance, a hush fell over the land, but blood on the doorposts marked their homes. Death passed over, not because of their noise, but because of their covering. That is the same principle working in you now. The silence is not vulnerability, it is blood-marked safety. And beyond protection, there is assurance. Assurance is that unshakable inner witness that whispers, "You are not alone." Even in the quiet, God's Spirit testifies within you that the plan is still intact. Assurance is what steadies you when your senses cannot. It's why you've felt peace at strange moments, why you've laughed in seasons that should have broken you, why you're still here when others thought you'd fold. That is the Spirit confirming, you are carried, you are covered, you are kept. Yes, challenges remain. Yes, questions linger, but assurance tells you that your story is not at risk. No thief can steal it, no enemy can rewrite it, no delay can cancel it. Protection guarantees safety, assurance guarantees destiny. Together they form the net that keeps you suspended until the silence breaks and fulfillment arrives. So breathe. Rest in this covering. Let the hush become your sanctuary, not your sentence. Nothing has slipped out of God's hands. Nothing is spiraling beyond His sight. You are surrounded, defended, and guided, even in the stillness. What comes after silence is not a return to what was, it is transformation. When heaven chooses a pause this weighty, it is because what follows will redefine you. The hush of Thursday is not simply a season to endure, it is a threshold into fulfillment, and once you cross it, nothing about you or your path will remain the same. The first transformation happens within. Your spirit emerges stronger, sharper, and steadier. Where once you reacted to noise, now you carry peace. Where once you doubted delays, now you trust timing. Silence has been your teacher, and its lessons are carved deep. Patience that cannot be stolen, faith that does not need evidence, discernment that cuts through shadows. You walk differently when you've survived silence. You carry a weight of glory the world cannot counterfeit. Then the transformation spills outward. Doors open, but not just any doors, the right doors. Alignments shift into place like puzzle pieces that had been scattered for years. What was withheld is released, not in trickles, but in waves. You look around and realize that what once felt impossible has become your new normal. And the beauty is this: you know it was not your striving, but God's orchestration. The fulfillment humbles you, even as it lifts you. Relationships transform too. Some who could not understand you in the silence will see the evidence of God's hand and be forced to acknowledge it. Others who were meant to walk beside you in the next chapter will arrive, carrying keys, encouragement, and partnership. You will discern quickly who belongs and who doesn't, because silence trained your ears to recognize authentic voices. The fulfillment also shifts your influence. What you carry will not be just for you, it will ripple outward. Your story of waiting and breakthrough becomes a testimony, a map for others walking through their own silences. You become a living signal, proof that stillness is not abandonment, but strategy. And in that witness, many will find courage to endure their own hush seasons. And perhaps the most profound transformation is the one you feel in gratitude. When the silence finally breaks, you will not curse the waiting, you will bless it. You will look back on the quiet nights, the unanswered prayers, the restless hours, and see how every one of them shaped you into the vessel capable of carrying this moment. Gratitude will flood you, not because everything went smoothly, but because everything, even the silence, worked together for your good. This is the fulfillment hidden in Thursday's silence. You will not come out the same. You will come out refined, equipped, aligned, and overflowing. The prophecy will not just bless you, it will transform you. And once it does, there will be no going back to who you were before the hush began. Take a breath and let these words sink into you, for they are not just sentences, they are seals. What began as silence has now been revealed as prophecy, and it is time to carry this signal into your spirit with strength. The journey through the hush of Thursday is not over, but you are no longer wandering in confusion. You know now that the pause was purposeful, the stillness was sacred, and the quiet was charged with meaning. Affirm these truths over yourself, not just once, but daily, until they take root. I am not forgotten. I am hidden in God's timing. Silence is not my enemy. It is my preparation. What is sealed for me cannot be stolen from me. The hush I feel is not emptiness. It is heaven's strategy unfolding. I was saying, repeat them until they echo louder than doubt, until they override fear, until they shape your perspective in every quiet room. These affirmations are your anchor when noise is absent, and your compass when direction feels unclear. And now hear this blessing, spoken over you as a covering and a charge. May the peace of God flood every silent space in your life. May the assurance of His presence turn your restlessness into confidence. May your ears grow sensitive to whispers that guide more surely than shouts. May every hidden challenge be transformed into strength, every delay into alignment, every silence into revelation. I bless your waiting with patience. I bless your spirit with discernment. I bless your future with doors that no man can shut, and with clarity that no shadow can distort. And above all, I bless you with the certainty that you are carried, you are chosen, and you are deeply loved by the one who authored this silence in the first place. Walk now in peace. Do not fear the quiet, for it is no longer a void to you, it is a signal. Step into the rest of this week with your head lifted, your heart steady, and your faith alive. Something has already shifted. Thursday's silence has already spoken, and the fulfillment that waits on the other side will meet you sooner than you think. So go with this blessing sealed upon you. You are hidden, you are protected, you are prepared, and you are destined to see the hush turn into hallelujah.